Welcome to the ThinkCell tutorials. This video is the first of 2 videos on annotating and decorating your ThinkCell charts. We will cover difference arrows, value lines, connectors, and legends. Let's start with difference arrows. Difference arrows help to visualize the difference between 2 columns, segments, or points in your chart. They are automatically calculated and updated whenever your data changes. You can choose between 2 types of difference arrows: level difference arrows and total difference arrows. Level difference arrows show the difference between 2 arbitrary data points in a chart. Total difference arrows, on the other hand, visualize the difference between 2 totals. To insert a level difference arrow, click on the segment at which the difference arrow should start, hold down Ctrl, and click on the segment where the difference arrow should end. Both segments are now selected. Right-click into the selection and pick Add Level Difference Arrow from the context menu. A level difference arrow is inserted. You can, of course, change the starting or end point of the difference arrow. Click to select, then click and drag either of the 2 handles. All available anchors for the difference arrow are displayed, and you can drag the handle to an anchor of your choice and release. Repeat this for the other handle if necessary. To change the position of the arrow itself, click and drag it to one of the suggested alternative locations, and release. You can also modify the arrow's direction. This will also affect the calculation of the label. Double-click on the arrow to toggle between the 3 options. To modify the color of the arrow and the bubble outline, left-click on it once and pick a color from the drop-down menu. Finally, you can also change the content and style of the bubble label. Left-click on it to open the floating toolbar. Use the Label Content control to choose between displaying absolute values, or percentages, or a combination of both in the label. Now let's look at how you can insert a total difference arrow into your chart. Right-click into the chart and pick Add Total Difference Arrow from the context menu. To change which categories are compared by the arrow, simply drag the handles to different anchors. Toggling between the arrow modes and modifying format and style works just as it does with the level difference arrow. ThinkCell also allows you to add a CAGR arrow to your chart to visualize a compound annual growth rate. To insert a CAGR arrow, right-click into the chart and select Add Compound Growth Arrow from the context menu. If you want to change the default start and end categories, select the CAGR arrow with your mouse and drag the handles to the respective category. The CAGR is automatically calculated and updated whenever your data changes. This is also true when you change the values of the categories. Whereas the CAGR arrow is always calculated on the column totals, you may also visualize the compound annual growth rate of each series in your chart. This can be done in the series labels. Just left-click on the label or a multi-selection of labels and choose the CAGR or Series CAGR option from the Label Content control in the floating toolbar. Another useful chart decoration is the value line. It is a line parallel to the x-axis that helps to visualize a certain value on the y-axis. Right-click into the chart and pick Add Value Line from the context menu. By default, the line is inserted at the average of the column totals. It is recalculated whenever your data changes. To visualize a different value, click and drag the line to the desired position. Zoom into the slide for higher precision when dragging. Or use the arrow keys to move the value line. When you double-click the value line, it snaps back to its default position. As with all labels in ThinkCell, you can add custom text or replace the predefined text with your own content. To change the position of the label, hover over it, click on the drag handle, hold down the mouse button, drag to the other side of the chart, and release. You can add any number of value lines you like to your chart. A value line can also be used as an anchor for a level difference arrow to compare your data points with a certain value. To emphasize the development of your series, you may also add connectors to all series or selected segments. Right-click into the chart and pick Add Connector from the context menu. Right-click again and choose Remove Connector to delete the connectors. If you only want individual series to have a connector, select or multi-select the segments, right-click into the selection and pick Add Connector. You can also add universal connectors to your ThinkCell elements on the slide. Go to the ThinkCell group in the PowerPoint ribbon and look for the Connector button. When you click on it and move the mouse cursor over the slide, all available anchors of the different elements are indicated in red. The universal connector can be used between any two connectable anchors that may or may not belong to the same element. Click once to place one end of the connector at the anchor of your choice. Click again to place the other end of the connector. To leave the insertion mode, just hit the Escape key. To turn a straight connector into one with a right angle, select it, drag the middle handle to your desired position, and release. Finally, let's have a look at how to insert and edit a legend. No matter the chart type, you can insert a legend by right-clicking into the chart and selecting Add Legend from the context menu. When you add a legend, all other series labels are removed automatically. If you want to change the position of the legend, click on the frame that appears when you hover over it, then drag it to your preferred position, and release. Drag one of the handles to change the size of the frame, for example, to create a horizontal legend, and release. You can also format and style the legend by left-clicking on its frame. The floating toolbar opens and you can edit the font and font size, legend outline, color scheme, and order of the legend items via the respective control box. Moreover, you can use the legend as a quick way to change the color of a whole series. Just left-click onto its color field in the legend and pick a color from the drop-down menu. All segments belonging to this series change color. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. We recommend watching the second part of our chart annotations and decorations tutorial next. It focuses on chart axes, scales, and breaks.